I mute it.
Just, yeah, there you go.
How you going, guys? We are back. We are back. We've got a boiling kettle in the background, but it's all right.
So someone's
Welcome to the Johnny and KP show. We have Gio again. So we'll say hello to Gio first. How you
Hey
going, man?
guys, how are you?
I'm just fixing a few of the shapes on like while we speak. So you doing all right? John is muted, so we'll just talk
Yeah,
a bit.
John's muted. No, I'm doing good. I'm still away for work, but yeah, just chilling in the hotel room and
Yeah.
yeah,
John's face is massive, Chris, because
it is.
his internet keeps reshaping him. So he's like going, "Whoa, whoa, whoa."
It doesn't look too bad.
No, he's all right. He's got a glass of water now, and he's still muted. Do you reckon he knows he's muted?
Yeah, he knows he's muted.
Just
He's
ask him a
waiting.
question, and he's like,
All right, guys,
Yes,
can you hear
yes.
me? Can you hear
Yes,
me?
we can.
How are you?
Yeah, good man. How you doing?
I'm good.
I'm good, man. Good. It's been a whole week since United drama has unfolded.
It
Yeah,
has.
you missed out on the last. You weren't here for the last one, and KP and I made some predictions, and they pretty much came true. Which we were sort of.
Yeah, that's right.
Well, I did predict a 2-1 to Watford. I definitely, in my wildest dreams, did not pick. I did not expect to be going down 4-1 to Watford, but the prediction was actually pretty close up until the last minutes of the game, and they scored those last two. But yeah, KP and I spoke about it last week. Yeah, we were woeful, and
Nothing's changed.
but yeah, yeah, pretty much.
Oh, John, what a resizing you did. That was killer. John just looks like a head, but he keeps resizing, Chris. It's the best.
What is my head?
I don't know what you're doing.
Is my
We'll
head
just
really
let you
big?
keep resizing, man. It's good. I like it.
I reckon it adds. I reckon it adds a bit of like element because I'm watching it here on the other screen. Let's go. And
Are you watching him change now?
Yeah, it looks
How
good.
good is it? It's like he's doing special effects.
Yeah.
I had to quickly rush over from family dinner,
all
so to make it
We'll let
tonight,
you off,
boys.
man. You're a nice guy. All right, so boys, obviously, first thing we're going to get into is Johnny wasn't here for pretty much Ole got the sack, and everyone was drilling the fact that we didn't go for a manager. We're doing this interim route, and we've gone down the route of Ralf Rangnick. So we've got to get everyone's thoughts on this, the interim appointment of Rangnick, and we'll start with you, Johnny.
Yeah, well, I have to admit, before the appointment of
Rangnick.
is it Rangnick? Is that how you pronounce it?
or whatever.
Rangnick. I didn't know much about him, so obviously I've researched him a little bit and heard him speak and stuff like that. And I think it's a good appointment. He seems like he's the type of bloke to build a team and build a squad. He hasn't really won anything. I don't think that's the biggest issue if he's just an interim. But what he did at Leipzig and stuff like that, I think he brought him from Div 4 even to the Championship. So I know he went with Schalke all the way to the Champions League final as well,
I think
which
he
is
went.
impressive.
He went
with
to the
Schalke.
semi. I think we knocked him out that year.
Oh, okay. Yeah. But I also heard him speak at a managers conference, and yeah, he speaks a lot of sense, and I think he's liking to the style of play of, say, like a Klopp or something
Yeah.
like that. So if he can whip these boys up into a good shape and make a foundation with this next 6 months, I think it's going to be a good
Yeah.
appointment.
We've got a few in the chat there. Reborn says, "How is it playing for Man City, Gio, aka Kyle Walker?" So I guess he's insinuating you look like Kyle Walker. And
Yeah, maybe.
and Wayne, I won't pronounce his last name, says, "Why not Steve Bruce? I hear he's available." And then
No way.
Big Man says, "Wayne's heckling the lads, LOL." So so we'll go to you, Gio. What do you think about Rangnick?
Look, like same with John. I don't know bugger all about him. Did a little bit of research. Haven't had as much time to do his research as John because he listened to him talk a bit more. But the the one thing that I'm gathering now from a lot of these Premier League clubs, and it makes sense, they're going the way of these German coaches, and the way that Germans play football, man, and the way they're just tactically great. They're just, you look at what Klopp has done with Liverpool. What is it? Tuchel, is it how you pronounce him?
Tuchel, yeah.
For Chelsea as well. Like they're structured. They know what they want, and like Germans are very stern people, and they're not scared to say and do what they want. And I worried for a few of these players at Man United, like, because they're going to just get dropped, and it's probably what they need. I can see Luke Shaw, because I've heard him. He has been very critical of Luke Shaw in the past, and there's just players like that. And I think even with Ronaldo as well, he's made some comments about him in the past, saying he doesn't work. He just sits in front.
I think he said in tongue in cheek. They asked him back when he was Leipzig manager, "What do you think of Ronaldo and Messi?" And he goes, "They're too old and too expensive." And this was 5 years ago. But I think that was more tongue in cheek, because it's like as if Messi and Ronaldo are going to Leipzig. If that makes sense.
Yeah. So I just like I said, I don't know much about him, but I'm quietly optimistic in the appointment of a German manager, because I feel like this is what our club needs. They need someone that's just going to be like, hey, this is how it is, this is how we're playing, and just do it.
Yeah.
And whether or not, so maybe some of our players need it, and they need to be dropped, and they need to hear it. So, yeah.
Well, what I think about it is, there's a lot of people getting gassed about it, and listen, I understand I know a bit about him. He's considered the godfather of German football, like the German, I think he invented the German press, which they call the Geigen press or whatever they call it over there. And, a lot of people are gassed about him, like what John said, he builds teams and all this and that. But then I sort of see the other counter argument. If he's so good, how come Bayern Munich and things like that never gave him a job? And that's what Paul Scholes was saying. Because listen, if he's so good, usually the best German coach, barring Klopp because he was with Dortmund and then left, gets Bayern Munich or Borussia Dortmund or something. And I don't know if that's something on him, that why he didn't have those jobs. But I've heard he's not scared to make decisions. He's not, which is, again, I agree, it's a good thing. That's why I don't think it's bad that he's an interim. But I don't know what you guys think about that. Like the fact that because it really, like, he's good, like John said, he's building teams and he's known for all this stuff. But what's the biggest player he's managed? He's got Ronaldo now. He's got some big dogs to manage. It's different to managing Werner when he's coming through at Leipzig and Sabitzer and things like that. In my opinion, anyway.
Well, I think we have to be realistic. Title race is out of the question now, so it's about top four. So if he comes in and he steadies the ship and gets us top four, and he does stay on as a consultant role, like maybe director of football, helping build the squad, I'm fine with that. But keeping him long term, I don't want it to be another Ollie situation where he does fantastic and everyone's like, sign him up.
Sorry to cut you off. I don't think he wants that, does he? Like Ole's dream job was to get the United job. I don't think Rangnick wants the full-time job.
Yeah.
Yeah. So if he just wants to do what they're saying that's going to happen, I'm totally fine with the interim as it stands, because I think we all sort of know that I either want Poch or Ten Hag.
Hey Lucas, sorry to cut off Johnny there.
Yeah, so if it's just a means to an end to get the manager they want, then it's fine by me.
Yeah, so Wayne again won't say his last name out loud in the chat, has asked who are the options long term, and we're going to get into that a bit later, Wayne. That's pretty much our topic for tonight, is what we think of Rangnick and who each one of us individually would like to take the gig long term. But surely we've got to touch on last night. So we go to top of the table, this team that's been imperious this year, Chelsea, with Carrick at the wheel. And we get a draw. But I mean, you look at it on the out of it, 1-1 looks really good. But then when you look into it and Chelsea had 24 shots and we had 3, we had one corner and that came in the 80th minute. I mean, if I was a Chelsea fan, I'd be spewing with those stats that I didn't win the game. I don't know what you think about that. We'll go with George first.
Yeah, one of my mates at work, he's a massive Chelsea fan, and I rang him this morning, and he was peaking. He's like, Chelsea. He goes, I can't believe that we actually drew that game. 22 shots on goal, not on goal. 22 shots in total. What do we have? 3 or something like that?
Yeah.
They had a real good chance at the end of the game to just seal it, and I can't remember his name. He put it over the bar, but then again, we had Rudiger, and we had a really good chance as well to with Fred getting that back pass and just going for this crazy chip. Was very, very upset at that, but
Yeah. Well, sorry, keep going.
No, just looking at the scoreline and looking at the stats and all that, I am 100% happy with a 1-1 draw.
Oh, definitely.
In that game.
So,
and happy for Sancho to get some more confidence and score another goal.
Definitely. So before we go to John, Reborn says, I think he'll drop Ronaldo. You're not going to get the pressing game from him. And I actually, a lot of people are saying that before we get to John's answer on the Chelsea thing, and I actually disagree with that. Because
I think
not that he'll press, Ronaldo's never pressed. He'll fit into a system, and if Rangnick is as good as all these people are saying he is, there's no way you don't fit one of the best players of all time in your team. What's he going to do?
You have to.
I'm sure before he got the job, they said, "Listen, we didn't bring Ronaldo back here for him to sit on the bench." I think if he's as good, if he's as good as they're making him out to be, he will make it work with Ronaldo because his game is about attacking, and he's got one of the best attackers in the world. So, and then Reborn said, you were lucky. First half could have been 3-0 to Chelsea easy. And that fits into why De Gea was man of the match. And he's been our best player all year.
Hudson-Odoi,
that save.
In the early stages of the game, it was like, okay, well, once that happened, I'm like, fuck, man, we're gone.
I mean, we'll get to Johnny now and his thoughts about it. But Johnny was a goalkeeper. That save he made from Hudson-Odoi was next level. People don't realise how good that was with his foot.
Yeah. I mean, you got to have the, awareness and stuff and the cat-like reflexes to quickly pull something like that off. But touching on the Ronaldo thing, he's been dropped already this year, a couple big games, which surprised me, like the game against Chelsea just yesterday. And I think,
Everton.
Was it Liverpool? Did he start against Liverpool? Everton. Yeah, so I'm pretty shocked by that. So I'm not sure if it's a wait and see thing with the way Rangnick sets up, but he should find a spot for Ronaldo.
You have to.
Has he been confirmed?
Oh, they're saying it is confirmed. Yeah, it's just they're waiting because he's waiting for a work permit.
Yeah.
But like I said, like Johnny's saying, if you're that good of a manager, like Alex Ferguson was that, Ronaldo never pressed then when he was 20, but he fit him in. Get someone like you got Bruno Fernandes, who's like Tevez, just go and press for him. That's what great players do. You get people doing that for you.
Yeah. Well, Carrick's lineup looked like it was set up for a not to lose team. He had obviously Matic, Fred, and McTominay in the center of the park. So, but yeah, they completely dominated the game. We were lucky to get the point. But after our recent performances and that, it felt like a win really away from Chelsea with the form they're in and the form we're in.
I mean,
so I think it was a good result for us to build from now with Renwick.
You know what I take from that game more than anything, and Reborn might be happy about this, that I don't think Chelsea will win the title because Liverpool and City, and it pains me to say because the Liverpool and City, they go for the jugular. Chelsea seem like they have that about them where they can't finish a team. And I know they're top at the moment, but titles aren't won in December, you know what I mean? You look at Liverpool, they're just smashing everyone.
Well, I know they had 20-something shots, but I think there was a few of them that were clear-cut. Maybe 17 were way over the bar or were outside the box. So it doesn't paint the perfect picture for them, but they did dominate the game. But you know they'll be in the race. But if they win it, like you said, well, yeah, it'll be tight. But you know, I wouldn't say they're the favourites to win
I
the
agree.
league. No.
I think it's Liverpool or City. Like like I said, that I didn't think I'd live to see the day where Liverpool won a title, and I've seen that, and I don't want to see it again. So sorry, Reborn.
You know better than I do, KP, but is our form ever really been that good at Stamford Bridge?
No, they're actually in the Premier League era. They're the team. It is even going with Alex Ferguson. They're the team that we have got the worst record against. Is Chelsea?
Yeah, I read that today,
Yeah,
and
that's
even
true.
Ronaldo as well.
He's never scored against them.
Is woeful. He's had like 2 assists, and he's played like 19 games against them or something. Maybe 1 goal, I think.
Yeah, that was something from back even before they were massive. Like
I've always I read that today. It's like we've never really been that good at Stamford Bridge.
The little maestro always used to kill us back in the day. Zola, he used to smash us.
The Zola, yeah.
So is Renwick taking over from all next games? Is that
well? That's what they're saying. If the work permit goes through, he's meant to. And we got Arsenal on Thursday, who are Arsenal. I'll paint this picture for you. Are 5 points clear of us, and they lost their first 3 games.
Yeah, we're laughing at relegation. Arsenal there for a while, and I think I heard a commentator say while the Chelsea game was going, if the league had started from September something or something like that,
would be bottom.
Yep.
Would be bottom of the ladder. Yeah. So it's just shocking. So,
yeah.
We are Banter FC right now, not Arsenal.
Yeah. We need to start putting some wins on the board. We really do.
Reborn has commented to what I said. I'm pretty sure that's about what I said about seeing Liverpool win a title. He said, haha, I'm not going to say what I wanted to, KP. So. Oh, listen, you know what?
He's probably one of the nicest Liverpool fans.
He's my favourite Liverpool fan in the world, man. Reborn.
He's not one of the nicest Liverpool fans out there. I've known him for a few years. He's literally one of the literally one of the nicest blokes out there.
Man.
He's got every right to give us so much shit.
Comes in there and he just lets us cry and just doesn't drill us.
Yeah. Because if there was any other Liverpool fan, if we had some of the Liverpool fans that would be getting bombarded.
Well, if it's the Wayne that I think it's watching, he's a Newcastle fan, so he's been a Newcastle fan.
Is that why he said about Steve Bruce?
Yeah, so I'm putting that together now.
Well, it rhymes with duck, cough, Reborn reckons. Listen, like, I'll tell you, Reborn, I'm 36 now, and, I was saying it to Johnny the other day, like, United started for me in the FA Cup final, 95, I think it was, Liverpool versus United, when Cantona scored that goal. And like mine and Gio's dad and John's dad have been, our dad's been a Man U fan since the 50s. And we know no other way. Like, it's just, but that's why growing up, I didn't think I'd see Liverpool win a title because they were just so bad for 30 years, you know what I mean? But now they're miles ahead of us, and credit to them.
Do you think it's a case? Pep?
Well, you cut out a bit.
Do you think it's a case that we have to wait till Pep and Klopp leave their team so we can challenge?
I don't know. Depends who comes in, I think. It really depends on who comes in and... Yeah, I know, I mean... People are going to come for their players too. Look at Man City. They couldn't keep hold of Sane. He wanted to go to Bayern Munich. Surely Madrid, when they got money again next year, they're coming for Salah or Mane. That's what they do. They've been lucky that Barcelona and that are bankrupt at the moment. That's how I look at it.
Yeah.
They haven't been there to buy players off people and...
Yeah. Well, I hope they do leave. Their clubs soon. But
I know.
I know they're tainted now for us. I think if we got Pep Guardiola, it'll be alright. It's as bad as having
Pep could manage United. Klopp couldn't.
It's too.
Nah,
Liverpool would not let that happen.
Couldn't do it because whether I know. Listen, if there's any Man City fans out there, like if there is one, show me them. I think I know one. But if there's any Man City fans out there, they might disagree, but I doubt they wouldn't. United Liverpool's a bigger rivalry, and we all know that. It's probably the biggest rivalry in world football. Like it's.
We're just a derby to them.
That's right. It's a derby. To them, it's that Man United is Man City's biggest game, but Man City is not United's biggest game. That's how I put it. That's just how it goes. And Wayne is saying, "Yep, that's him, man."
Hey, Wayne, how are you?
So, how are you, Wayne? Nice to have you with us, man.
Wayne-os.
Top guy. He's followed Newcastle through thick and thin, and now he's the richest club going around.
So Wayne, man,
they're about to start spending some big cash, man.
I tell you what, they're in trouble.
Well, they got to get past this year first.
Listen, no matter what happens, Newcastle are going to be a world force in 10 years, but this year could still set them back a couple of years because they could get relegated because. Man, no one's ever survived with this many points at this stage.
They have to spend in January. They have to.
If they don't, they're done. And I mean, listen, regardless if they get relegated or not, Wayne, they're going to be they're going to be one of the best teams in the world in the next 10 years. And that's just a fact. But this could set them back a year or two.
Mm-hmm.
But, power to them, man. If the Saudis bought my club, I don't care about all this political shit, man. I'll be celebrating too that the Glazers were gone.
I think I want to speak to Reborn here. I didn't know his dad was a United fan, and I think maybe, and he was drawn to Liverpool because Gerrard, Torres, Suarez, Alonso, and that. I think maybe you were drawn to Liverpool have a bit of rivalry in the house with your dad.
Well, Reborn, I know. Are you born? Your dad's a United fan, but I thought you were a Scouser. I thought you were born in Liverpool. I mean, he can answer that while we get on with it, but
yeah.
Well, I'm about to have a son. If he becomes a Liverpoolian, I'll be gutted. Gutted.
You just won't let that happen.
Smother him in Man United clothes.
Our dad would never have let that happen. He would just be like, Liverpool, who? But all right, so we've touched on the Chelsea game. We touched on Rangnick. And it's fair to say, the thing is, a lot of people, I like what you boys said. You actually said straight out, listen, I don't know much about him. I think all these people, and it's just, none of us really know, all these people saying this about him, but I don't think anyone really knows much about him unless you follow the German league.
Well, he's been behind the scenes type of person for a while.
Exactly. So, Wayne says, good show, lads. Richest club heading for the championship. So he's agreeing with us. I know, Wayne, man. I love True Geordie. I love True Geordie, Wayno. So he's champion, man.
And he's a big crypto guy now, Wayne. So good luck to him.
So watch us on Thursday, man. It's going to be Johnny's. Thursday night is going to be Johnny's first foray on HFT podcast and crypto talk.
Because I was going to say,
he keeps.
Have Lucas and I done more podcasts than John?
No, John just keeps missing out. But he's on Thursday, and our first segment is always crypto talk. So good to have Johnny there. He knows what he's talking about. But
I think I know what I'm talking about.
We all think we know what we're talking about. It's like me with football, man. I think I know what I'm talking about. But people probably in the chat going, "Who's this KP bloke think he is, man?" But. So we'll touch on what Wayne actually brought up before, and I put it in the heading of our thumbnail. Who's next? And we'll start with you, Johnny. Who do you think is next, and who do you want to be next? Because obviously Rangnick he's doing the interim. That's it. We know that. Yeah. So who's next? Who do you think is going to be next, and who do you want to be next? Before you start, Wayne says, buy the dips, man. Look forward to
it. So anyway, Wayne, but I think the word on the street is Poch. I think they want Poch. That's who I think will be next, which will be a good appointment. I think is a good fit. I know Ferguson really likes Pochettino, taking him out to dinner and stuff like that. So, if the big man takes you out for dinner, he obviously likes you.
Well, he did the same with Klopp and Guardiola when he retired, but at the time, Klopp was on a hiatus and Guardiola had given his word to Bayern Munich. So,
yeah. So, I mean, I wouldn't mind Poch. I think he wouldn't be a bad fit. I think he'd do all right. I know he hasn't won anything, but he probably will by the end of this season, being made just the Liga. Who I want, I mean, I can't say Ten Hag because I'm in the same boat. I don't really know much about Ten Hag. Yeah. He's got a cool name, and that's it to me. So, I mean,
don't you think everyone is? Don't you think he's just a flavour of the month, Johnny?
Well, Ten Hag, Ten Hag. Like, do you really know who the?
That's what I'm saying. Don't you think he's the Ajax manager? But don't you think he's just the flavour of the month?
I think so.
Yeah, a bit like Nagelsmann. Is a Nagelsmann who went to Bayern? Yeah, it reminds me of that sort of situation. Who I'd want, like obviously who I'd want's probably not attainable because he's on the blue side of Manchester. But yeah, I'd probably say, I would love Pep Guardiola. There's no hiding it, but obviously it's not realistic. And there's not many good realistic managers out there, to be fair. So, yeah, I'll probably stick with Poch.
Listen,
if they go.
I know you were big. When this is going back before Ole got the job, I know this for a fact. You were big on Poch. What's changed in that time?
I think
you wanted him more than anything.
Him being at PSG has got me a little bit worried. I'm not sure if just because of the club culture over there or it seems like he's lost a little bit of control of the stars. So it seems like Messi, by all words of, is sort of calling the shots there, not Poch. So if he can't control the dressing room with the biggest names in the world, and Manchester United is one of the biggest names in the world who normally has the biggest players in the world. So if he can't control that sort of dressing room, but I'm not, I'm speculating a little bit here. I'm not sure if it's totally true or not, but that's probably the only thing that's put a little bit of a red flag for me, but, not much. I'd still think he'll do a good job, and I still think, he's a good appointment.
Well, the counter, Rob has just come in the chat, so we've got a City fan in the chat, and he said, don't diss the blue side of Manchester. So the only counter argument I got to that is, so you got, look at it, Ancelotti has won 3 Champions Leagues, and he failed at PSG. He failed to keep the dressing room intact, and that was without Messi. Tuchel failed there. Tuchel lost the League One last year with PSG. That, Pochettino, when you look at it, is 10 points clear and everyone says he's failing. He could win the Champions League this year. We don't know. Messi, I didn't watch it, by all accounts, was absolutely imperious last night, or whenever their game was. Apparently he was like Messi of 5 years ago. This is what I'm reading. So, I mean...
What's all these whispers that come out? You obviously have heard the whispers of it's not happy place at PSG, even besides the results at the moment. So what's all that got to?
Rob is agreeing with you, Johnny. He's saying, JG, you're right, but players should be more professional, and that's true. But the players are prima donnas, especially there, aren't they? Like you're dealing with, he's got Messi, Mbappe, and Neymar, just there. And Rob is saying maybe PSG has an interfering owner, which could well be.
Yeah, the culture of the club is a bit haywire.
And I think that's why Poch wants the Man United gig, because I think it's his dream job. It's been documented that he wanted it. And, I mean, I don't know what you think, Gio. Who do you think is going to take over? Actually, we got Rob in the chat. You said we don't know much about Ten Hag. Rob probably does know a bit about him. He can tell us a bit about Ten Hag in the chat.
We should get a coach like Rob on the podcast.
Yeah, we are. Me and him are in conversations today about getting him as a special guest. So But yeah, he can tell us about Ten Hag and Ajax. I mean, like, listen, they're playing amazing, like, and he's got them playing excellent. But again, who's he managing there? Tadic is not like managing Pogba and Ronaldo, like just the egos. I'm saying, like how Rob is saying, players got to be more professional. But as we understand, when they want to call the shots, a lot of the time they do, which is bad. But yeah, we'll go to you, Gio. Who do you think is going to take over, and who do you want to take over?
Well, I really think you're right. I think Poch is probably going to get the job. He did say in the press, I think I read it the other week, that he's, going to see out the season with PSG. He wants to. He doesn't want to take like a job halfway through.
Well, why wouldn't you? When, like I said, he could win the Champions League.
He could do, yeah. So I didn't like, because when Tottenham sacked him.
Yeah.
So I really because I haven't been following football as heavily as I have been over the past few years, just with work and all that stuff. So I didn't really know too much about him, just what he did with Tottenham. But I think he's probably going to have the job. Who I want, mine's a bit obscure because I've watched him in the Champions League. I haven't seen much what he's done with the German league and all that, but I like Jesse Marsch from RB Leipzig.
But he only just got the job.
I know he's a young coach. He's not afraid to do things, and like just when he played against us, the games that he played against Man United, and I just I think last year we had him in the group stage.
No, but that was Nagelsmann.
Oh, was it?
That's the one that's gone to Bayern. Yeah,
that's right. Yeah. Sorry. Yeah, you're right. No, I think it. Yeah, the young one.
Yeah, that's the one that's gone to Bayern.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. No, I got mixed up.
No, that's all right. But yeah, Rob is saying problem with coaches from second-rate leagues is, again, getting the respect from prima donnas. And do you know, that's a perfect point, because you look at Aston Villa, Dean Smith is a way more experienced coach than Gerrard. The players weren't playing for him. Gerrard goes there, they went 2 on the bounce. Why?
And he's right. Ten Hag would fail.
And Rob is saying Ten Hag will fail at United. And I think it's because of what I'm saying. Like, it's, they're all talking about Rodgers. Rodgers won with Celtic. Like, winning with Ajax is borderline like winning with Celtic, because at the moment, who else is there in their league? Like, you know what I mean? Rob reckons Dr. Phil would be a better coach. Big teams with world-class players need a psychologist.
I mean, he's not wrong, though, man. He's not wrong. Like, you need someone that's going to come in and be, like I said earlier, with this Ralf Rangnick. I don't know much about him, but I've heard he's a very stern guy. And I think what United need at the moment is someone to just come in and say, this is what's going on. You're playing here. You're doing this. You're chasing this ball. You're defending, or you're...
Yeah, but when they had that, they had... And listen, regardless of what anyone thinks of him, people always putting him in the mud these days. Mourinho is going to be considered one of the best managers of all time. And they had a manager.
I think we should have stuck with
him. They had a manager that was telling them what to do, and what happened? Players like Pogba and that got him sacked.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like,
they should have got rid of Pogba.
Well, this is what I'm saying. Like, when does it end with this? They had a bloke that, I mean, he won a Champions League with Porto, and Inter Milan. Like, you know what I mean? Like, when they were not a huge force, like, and we had him, didn't back him. We gave Ole, who'd never had a job, 400 million. Didn't give Mourinho and Van Gaal that combined.
Yeah, crazy.
And these blokes have won Champions Leagues. Like, it's just it's baffles.
There was too much nostalgia there with Solskjaer. That's the problem.
Oh.
There was just so much like, oh my God, he's a club legend. Let's just do everything for him. Give him time. It's like, we don't have time.
On what Rob said, that's what. Obviously, we're United fans, so I watch so many things to do with Ferguson and that, and I've read his book, and what everyone says is he was pretty much a psychologist. He knew how to manage every player. Like, Rooney talks about him, and Rooney goes, man, he knew just ripping me would make me play good. He goes, he knew putting his arm around Nani would make him play good. He knew letting Eric Cantona do whatever he wanted, would make him the best. Like, I watched this story with Steve Bruce, and he's talking about Sir Alex, and he goes, I'll put you into one story. He goes, we had a dinner. He goes, and it was a black tie event. He goes, we all rocked up. black ties. He goes, and Eric walked in with red sneakers and a bow tie. And he goes, Giggsy and all that come up to me. Brucey was captain and go, hey, man, what's going on? Can you speak to the gaffer? And he goes, yeah, all right, I'll go. And he goes, I went up to Sir Alex and I said, oh, yeah, gaffer, what's going on, man? Why is he allowed to, do that? And he goes, mate, you go tell the boys, if they play like him, they can do whatever the fuck they want. So he knew how to treat players. And Rob is saying Giggs had more player respect, which he did when he took over that 4-game stint. Because they loved him.
Yeah.
And Rob is saying, but Alex delivered and somehow made a great team from 6 juniors coming through the ranks, which shows how good he was, I think. That's, I think Ole had this myth that he was giving youth a chance, but when you actually look at it, Johnny, was he?
Yeah, I mean, who did he really bring? Can you argue he created Greenwood?
Well, that's it. Greenwood. Yeah, but when you're considered, like they're saying he's a generational talent, do you get credit for that? Like, I mean...
Yeah. I mean, we do have some good juniors. Like, he bring in...
Elanga.
Dalot, is it?
Nah, Mourinho brought Dalot.
No, the other guy, the winger.
Elanga.
Dalla?
Diallo. Yeah.
But yeah, so he bought him young and obviously just loaned him out. So he didn't really try to work with him. I don't think he bring up youngsters. No, I'll give him credit for Greenwood. But I think he hasn't progressed Martial's career. He hasn't progressed Rashford, in my opinion.
Nah, he stinted them.
He's actually made, Donny's gone completely backwards. So, Ollie, look, he got rid of some players that needed to get rid of when he took over from Mourinho. He did some good things as well as, he just faded out in the end and he lost control of the dressing room. And I think the players have a lot to blame as well.
100%.
So not all Ollie, and it's not just the players as well. It's the club, it's the coaches. I think he didn't have good coaches around him.
But they're still there. Work that one out.
Well, that's it. Does Rangnick get his own coaches when he comes as an interim, or is Carrick and McKenna and all these guys going to be there?
They're saying because he's only interim, is he going to want? Is he going to be able to bring in blokes for 6 months? Like, because he's not a coach. Does he have a staff group with him? He doesn't. He's more of a director of football.
I just hope he's one of these managers that stands on the sideline and just lets Carrick and McKenna looking like donkey faces in the stands and just away from their stupid opinions, and he can just run the thing from the sideline.
Rob has hit an awesome point, and this is what I say. The next coach needs the board's backing. It doesn't matter who it is. He needs act by sacking and selling big players to support the coach, as Rob said. Like, it's...
Whatever happened to the manager getting the pick, who the players come in and who the players come out? Whatever happened to that?
See, and Rob said what you said, Johnny. Goes, Rashford, Martial are far better than they're delivering. A great coach would transform their game. And I spoke to this about you. I spoke about this with you guys a couple of weeks ago, and I spoke about it with Rob when we were watching the Manchester derby. When you look at his track record, like I said, Van der Beek was a Dutch international. Comes to Ole, doesn't make the team. Rashford was starting for England, doesn't make the team. Sancho was starting for England, doesn't make the team. Martial was a France international, doesn't make the team. De Gea was the best goalkeeper in the world, second for Spain now. And the list goes on. Alex Telles was a first team left back for Brazil, doesn't make the team anymore.
We just make players shit. That's what we do. Come to United to be shit.
Rob is saying we can have Jesus. I don't want him. But the other thing I wanted to touch on, and, like you said, we got Rob, who's the coach in the chat. He can comment on it. And last night, the one thing I'll say is Carrick put Bailly and Lindelof. And that's the best I've seen Lindelof play with Bailly next to him. And Bailly, they looked 10 times better than Maguire. All I want is when Varane is back, whoever the coach is, I don't care that he's captain. Pick Varane with Lindelof or Bailly. I don't want to see Maguire anywhere near the team. I want to
That's what I said the
go. What
other
do you
week.
say,
I
Gio?
would
Go,
play
you can go on
Lindelof.
that, yeah.
Yeah. Well, I was going to say that I said that the other week. I'm like, Maguire needs to be dropped because his form is woeful, and the pairing and like Lindelof was not playing well either, but he plays much better when Maguire's not there.
He plays
So,
better. Lindelof plays better when he's got a guy with pace with him.
yeah,
But when
I'll
you
be
put
happy with-
Varane, he's
yeah.
got pace with Maguire. It doesn't make Maguire better. He's just still terrible.
Yeah. So yeah, I'd be happy with that. I'd be happy with that pairing, Lindelof and Varane.
Yeah.
You know, not sure what's going on with Luke Shaw at the moment. His form's dipped off a bit and whatever. Teller's looking a bit better, maybe, as an option on the left. And Bissaka, like, he's pretty much... Who do we have for right back?
No, but I think it's Ole and Carrick now. We're just running these guys into the ground. Like Luke Shaw,
Yeah.
I mean, he scored in the Euro final. He didn't have a break, bro. And Ole just kept playing him, like Rashford last year, kept playing him. Players need a rest. And we know next year, the World Cup is going to be the shortest break for the season because we know the World Cup's at a different, it's going to be a short break. We need someone that knows how to manage players. And before you give your answer, Johnny, on the defense thing, Rob has said it. Surprise, surprise, United defense better without Maguire. And Wayne has said, is Pogba staying? Seems like he's always on the way out. I think he's gone, Wayne.
Yeah.
And the club should be ashamed of themselves that a youth player has gone for free twice and we've spent 100 million on him. That is a farce.
Yeah. But I think, what was I going to say? I lost my train of thought. It's all good.
No, so Johnny can comment on what he thinks about the defenders, and you can comment on the Pogba thing too, Johnny.
Yeah, I mean, I think the only thing that could save Pogba from signing was if we signed Zidane. I think Zidane was the only person in the world that could have convinced him to re-sign. That's not happening. But Pogba will walk, and yes, it's like you said, Kerry. It's just silliness on United's part again.
It's farcical, yeah.
But what I think Pogba sort of needs to leave this team for this team to progress. I think it's not a fit. I don't think Pogba can fit. He's a world-class talent on his day, but he's not a world-class player.
Yeah.
A world-class player would do this consistently. He does not do it consistently. So for me, your Roy Keane is a world-class player. Your Cantona is a world-class player. Rooney is a world-class player. Pogba doesn't fit in that category for me for those players. So he can walk. I think it's going to be beneficial for the team if he walks. Not financially, obviously, it's going to look stupid on us. We've got egg in our face again.
No, that's the board's fault. It's not the manager's. It's not whoever comes in as a manager. It's not his fault.
Yeah, I actually got my train of thought back. Sorry, Johnny, to cut you off there. I think more than likely what's going to happen, or maybe, we're probably going to look very stupid because we spent a lot of money on Maguire and he may get, they might want to try and make some money off him and sell him. Maybe. I don't know.
Oh.
With Maguire,
or do they keep him? Because he's literally your captain and you spent this money on him. But if you drop him, he's going to want to play first team football. So
we got catfished hard with Maguire because at the time we were desperate for a defender, right?
Exactly.
Desperate. We had bloody Smalling and who else?
Jones was on the bench last night.
Well, there you go. So we were really desperate. At the time, Maguire was doing good in English and that's why we paid over the odds. And that's why we got suckered in like a hot chick on a Tinder profile, and we meet up, and she's
Harry Maguire.
Have you got the chat up? Rob has asked you a question, Johnny. He's saying, as a goalkeeper, who would you want in front of you?
Probably Varane, definitely, and I'll probably go to Lindelof. Those two first. I think Bay is good as well, but I think he's always got a mistake in him. So, but my pecking order is Varane, Lindelof, Bay, then Maguire. So that just goes to show $80 million.
See, and Rob made a good point. He's saying, as soon as a player has won a World Cup, I'm wary of signing them. Rule of thumb. And I think I remember the same happened with Torres. I mean, Torres was arguably the best striker in the world. He'd had it all, and then he was just done. Chelsea spent 50 million on him. It was like the worst 50 million like you could think of. It was ridiculous.
He did.
Well, Varane won the World Cup as
Yeah, I
well.
know. Well,
So.
that's it's just you don't know, do you? Like, it's the thing about Varane is he won a World Cup, but he was still winning at his club. Pogba was going playing good for France and not doing anything for his club. It's like a trend.
I gave Bruno the captaincy last night.
Yeah, yeah.
But when you talk about the defense as well, I don't think Wan-Bissaka is good enough. I love the kid. I think he's a brilliant tackling defender. But I think he's just positioning on the pitch and going forward is just not good enough for United.
But as a
for me,
fullback,
he's not 50 million.
As a fullback,
So.
Listen, I know, I agree. You know, you got to know your position, but surely the centre backs should be helping out with his positioning. Tell him where to be, man. You're the centre back and you're captain of the club. Would Tony Adams stood for that?
Because he gets caught out of position sometimes.
That's what I'm saying.
Yesterday, he went too closer to the centre back and it went over his head, and Alonso could have just easily volleyed it in, but he didn't expect the ball to come to his feet.
That's what I'm saying. Would you look at these centre backs that were captains? Would Hierro have stood for his fullback being out of position? Would John Terry, would Tony Adams have just let their fullbacks just be running around like a headless tree? They'll be like, here, man, be there and just do what I say. You know, like that.
Yeah, the thing about the Lindelof play, there's not much leadership there. Then they're not pulling heads in those two. So
see,
maybe Maguire's got better leadership than all of them, but I don't know.
Mate,
he's supposed to anyway.
Right.
He's the captain.
Joke of a captain. Alia has said it's been a shambles, lads, but Rangnick will sort things out. I like his behind-the-scenes role after the interim period, and that's the bit I like. I like that the club, for the first time since Fergie, have made a football decision, and they've said, okay, come in as interim, and then you're going to be in this consultancy role, they're calling it, for 2 years, which hopefully means director of football or something. Get rid of this boys club shit with Fletcher and all these blokes, you know? See, Rob is agreeing with you, Johnny, saying good point. EPL defender positioning is generally awful. So...
Yeah. I mean, these guys are professional footballers. They should know, have the awareness to be in the right positions in the right time. So they get paid the money for it. So
see, and Rob is saying what I said. See, Rob's a coach and he was a centre back, and he's saying, yes, KP, central defenders call it and outrank everyone on the pitch except the keeper, because they're the last line. Like, I know, I'm a striker. I know. Listen, if I'm going for a press and either my midfielder or a defender says no, I don't go. Because they can see everything, you know. Like, and I'm a captain. I play as a captain in my team, but I know if someone tells me don't go, I don't go. You know, that is just like they make the rules, man, because they see everything. Like, and like Rob said, even the only thing that outranks them is a keeper. And at the moment, it's a shame to say, because he's still copping it in the media. Our best player is our goalkeeper. I don't know what you guys think on that, but he's our best player. He's getting back to his form of a couple of years ago. He's amazing again. Like, some of the saves he's making are just like, what cracks me up.
It's probably because he's got so many freaking shots coming at him, man.
No, but you know what cracks me up? You know what I can never work out about De Gea? He makes a mistake, right? And all players make mistakes, and all keepers are going to make mistakes. They chastise him. Yeah, but then 2 weeks ago, and Reborn can comment on this, Alisson lets a ball in directly from a corner against West Ham with no one challenging him, and no one says a word. Like, he's the best keeper in the world. He just chucked the ball in the net, but no one says a word. Edison from Man City, he makes mistakes. No one says nothing.
It's almost like they build up enough points that they can afford to be shit now and then without anyone saying.
Look at it, De Gea has been a better keeper longer than both of them.
It's just we know for our whole time as United fans, we make the news. We make the news if we're winning. We make the news if we're losing. We make the news, the back page every day because we're United. So it's the way it is. Playing for them.
See, Wayne.
So you'll be under the microscope.
Yeah, sorry, but Wayne has said, wasn't Steve Bruce a United captain? And Wayne, Steve Bruce was one of the best captains we ever had. I don't know how old you are as a. I was talking about it with Rob the other night. In the first year we won the Premier League, Steve Bruce scored 20 goals from centre back.
Yeah,
And he
right.
was
A lot of
captain.
headers.
On the last day of the season,
of
he
headers.
scored 2 headers that won us the title. And this is a centre back. The guy was marvellous. And the biggest, I know we're going completely off topic here, the biggest indictment on all of that is that he never played for England. I don't know who was England manager at the time. Maybe Rob can answer that for me, but I don't know how you're captain of the team that's winning everything and don't get a cap. That's
Who was it? Was Tony? Did they have Adams and
Adams
Keown in
and
there and
Bold
stuff
at
like that?
first, and then Adams and Keown. But what I'm saying, John, think about it. United were winning everything. Surely you put Adams with Bruce, or at least give him a cap. Give him a cap.
They had some good centre backs back then.
I know,
guess,
but he was captain of the best team in the country.
Yeah.
So Alia is saying Sancho is looking sharp again. That finish, yeah. You know what? The thing about that finish, what was really good, he faked the pass to Rashford, which once you wrong-foot a keeper, and Johnny, once the keeper's wrong-footed, they're done. You can put it. He just rolled it in, because once a keeper's wrong-footed, you don't even have to put power on it. It's done.
And it shows him taking that opportunity on his own instead of passing it. He's instilling a lot of confidence.
And Rob is saying Bobby Robson was the manager then. See, and I mean, this guy is lauded. Bobby Robson is lauded as such a great manager. You think, man, Steve Bruce not even making your squads. His namesake was another marvelous captain that we had, Brian Robson. When do we ever have these captains again? We got Maguire. We went from Robson, Vidic, Cantona, all these blokes to Maguire. We got the worst captain in the league.
Yeah, that's one thing I miss about Rooney. Sorry, how he was captain.
Loved him.
Every bad decision that happened on the field, Rooney was right in that face. We don't get that anymore.
Did you hear what he said the other day? He actually come out and said, and you know what? Talking about him, you got to give him a lot of credit at the moment. He's managing Derby, who have been given minus 15 points or something, and he's still looking like he might survive with them. So he must be doing something right as a manager, which is something for the future. Because when you're with a team I think they only had 17 first-team players. They've had no money, and they got given a 15-point deduction, and he's gotten them all back. I think he's on 2 points at the moment. He must be doing something good as a manager. And it's like you said, people want to play for him because he's Wayne Rooney, I think. But I agree. He was marvellous, because even when he was 19, if a decision went against him, he was ready to kill people. And we missed that.
Yeah. You touched on this because I said something similar a couple of weeks ago when we had the podcast with Johnny. I think Alan has said Bruno should be captain, agreed, or De Gea.
Well, listen, I don't think Bruno can be captain because Ronaldo's in the team. Ronaldo's his national team captain. And Ronaldo's like his idol. He's going to go captain his idol. I think it should be De Gea. De Gea had the captaincy, and the board stripped him when he bagged us for playing bad. But that's what you should do as a captain. And he got it last night when Bruno went off. De Gea was captain, so I don't know. He's our longest serving player. He's the only player in the team, I think, besides Jones and Ronaldo. Sorry, Ronaldo's back now. That's won a title. So the rest they've won FA Cups and that, but
it's hard to see Maguire getting stripped of the
I don't think he'll get
unless
stripped,
he does
but
something.
maybe he starts getting not played. He can be like Ferguson used to do that. Ferguson used to have a captain. He stopped playing him. He was only captain when he played.
Yeah. But would they give the captaincy back to De Gea after taking it away from him? Would he want the captaincy back after them taking it away?
Wayne has said Bruno not the same player since Ronaldo arrived. And because I think what I touched on is right, Wayne. I think he tries so hard to impress Ronaldo instead of just playing his game.
Because he's not scoring as much anymore. He
of course. He went on a freakish run of goals for a midfielder.
Yeah. Still
And
a
we're
good
not
player.
we're not getting the penalties we were last year
Yeah.
either.
But it's not that, man. You still got to step up. Like,
Yeah.
it's Rob is saying like what we said. Who do you think are your best choices? And I think we touched on that. I would say De Gea or just give it to Ronaldo. That's me personally. If Ronaldo's there for 2 years, let him be captain.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think Ronaldo. He's a leader
Yeah.
as well. So
Like he's going to play most of the time. I would say either them two, Ronaldo or even Varane. I wouldn't. The only problem I have with Varane getting it, he hasn't been at. It would be the same as Maguire. He hasn't been there long enough. But I would like, say, Ronaldo has it while he's there for 1-2 years, and then give it to Varane. Varane will be 30
obviously
then, and keep it.
you got to be respected as a captain,
Yeah.
and I'm sure all the players respect Cristiano.
Of course,
so.
they all look up to him, don't they? Rob reckons Maguire can't even spell captain.
He's such a blockhead, man. It's so bad.
It pains me. It pains me that he's at our club for 80 million. It just pains.
Leicester were laughing with that. That took us for the biggest ride. All right, so before we go, there is a topic that I want to touch on, and I know me and John have already spoken about it off camera. Are you happy with the decision that we got an interim? Or would you have rather they tried to get, let's say, Poch or whatever, or Rodgers? That's what I'm asking John. Are you happy we didn't get... Are you happy with this, or would you have rather a permanent guy? And I mean, I'm going to say it before Johnny says, I'm so glad we didn't get Rodgers. And it's just because he managed Liverpool. That's all there is to it.
Yeah, look, I'd rather what we're doing now than getting Rodgers. Look, I think Rodgers is a good manager, but, you know... You can say, well, what has he won?
Yeah.
You know, did he won the Scottish League? Is
well,
that right?
He won back-to-back trebles in Scotland. And listen, I mean, I know it's the Scottish League. You got to give everyone credit for doing something somewhere. But he went undefeated for 60 games or something. But I mean, it's the Scottish.
Was Rangers there?
Yeah,
huh? Was the Rangers?
Yeah, they were for the 2 or 3 of them. I like it. He was untouchable there, you know, like he was. But I mean, it's a Scottish league, and it's a bit like what I'm saying about like Ten Hag and that. Like at the moment, it seems like the options we've got of managers. You look at them. Ten Hag should be winning his league. Pochettino should be winning his league. Nagelsmann is at a job where he should be winning his league. Like, where's that? Yeah, I don't know. Like that, you know, like you're saying, like Klopp. Before Klopp came to Liverpool, he won 2 back-to-back leagues with Dortmund, which was, you know, unheard of.
A bit like what Ferguson did with Anderlecht in
Aberdeen.
Aberdeen, sorry. But yeah, Rodgers is a good manager. Look, I wouldn't be devastated if he took the job, but I just think, I just think it'll, you know, once things go a little bit hairy, everyone will be Rodgers out. You know what I mean? It'll be, they won't be as patient with Rodgers as they were with Ollie.
Yeah.
Just for the pure fact he was a Liverpool man.
Rob is saying Rodgers wouldn't get the players' respect, and I agree.
Yeah, so I think they're doing the right thing if they're going for the man that they really want. Yeah. I think I can do the bits for us in the meantime. Yeah.
Well, what I'll look back to, I can't remember what year it was. I don't know. One of you guys might remember. You remember when Chelsea went terrible that year, and they got Gus Hiddink in as an interim for 6 months, stabilised them, got into the Champions League, and then I can't remember who they got at the time. They got who they wanted at the end of the year. This pretty much is mirroring that, I think. You know, an experienced guy. Gus Hiddink was this real experienced bloke. Probably a better manager than Rangnick. Rangnick, he'd won stuff. Gus Hiddink had won everywhere he'd been. And he come in, just stabilised it. But, you know, it was someone that people knew was going to come in and just have a stern way of doing it. And then they got who they wanted. I can't remember who it was. They might even have got Mourinho again.
We talk about Poch and Ten Hag, but there's still 6 months of the season. I think a lot of other names are going to pop up within that 6 months. So you don't know what's going to happen in football. So I think it's Poch's favourite for me at the moment, but I guess we'll see.
Listen, before George says what he's going to say, I'd prefer Poch personally at the moment. Out of who there is to get, that's who I'd want. Like, I mean, like
Unless-
Flick
unless
went
Bobby
from
gives-
Bayern to
yeah.
Germany, so he's unavailable. Nagelsmann has gone to Bayern, he's unavailable. Like it just seems like he's the best of what there is. I don't know. Like it's
Tell Rob to go. Tell Pep to come to the club.
you tell him, he can hear.
Come on, Robbie. Give
Rob,
up Pep.
oh, now mine chat started changing size. Rob will let us take him. Rob gets annoyed at Pep.
He gets annoyed at Pep.
Well,
Jesus.
think about it. When you actually think about it, don't you think he should have won a Champions League by now?
I mean, it's not easy to win a Champions League. Obviously, he's obviously come close, and he might win it this year. But you know, I think he did a tactical error last. Was it last year? Yeah, I think he changed something that he normally doesn't change. I think, and that may or may not have cost him. But it's you get to the final. You get to the final.
That's right. Rob's answering you. He said you can have him.
Yeah, and he's saying maybe United would benefit from a World Cup winning coach. Maybe Deschamps, like I don't know. He's gonna leave.
Well, I don't want that German bloke who scratches himself and smells him.
Joachim Low.
That's disgusting.
Yeah. Hey, he won a World Cup though, man. You got to give him credit. So
Whatever
wins
wins.
whatever wins your trophies.
Hey, John, it's probably just a superstition.
Yeah, that's it.
He does.
He probably done it one time and then won something really big. He's like, fuck it, let's
Do it
not
again,
for
yeah.
the rest of it.
That guy that was cooked one night when he did that.
You coming off the field, you give him high five or not?
All right, well, boys, that's pretty much, we've talked about everything we want to talk about. That's pretty much come to the end. Is there any other final thoughts? Anyone wants to add? Anyone from the chat? Anyone want to put in?
I just want to touch on, I didn't get to answer because, we just had a laugh.
Sorry, before you go, look what Rob has said, and this is what I agree with. Pep was hired by Bayern and City to win the UCL, and he hasn't with either of them.
Nothing without
It's
Messi.
true.
Yeah.
But I do agree. Listen, I'm not saying he's a bad coach, but I agree with it.
Yeah, well, Poch seems like the most rational and most realistic choice at the moment for the end of the season. I'm just glad that they finally made some sort of sensible decision since, because it was shambles for a couple of weeks there, or a couple of months, sorry, and they didn't do Ole a service by they should have let him go earlier and just went with Poch. We've spoke about this before.
Yeah.
They should have just cut their losses. They knew Poch was there. Solskjaer wasn't doing great, but they waited.
Listen, Poch should have had the job before Ole.
They waited.
Going back then, he should have had the job back then. But, I don't know. Yeah. I think it's going to be Poch, and I can't wait to see what Rangnick does. I mean, we're playing early this week. We're playing Arsenal on Friday morning, I believe. And, I mean, if we lose to Arsenal, they're going to be 8 points ahead of us.
Yeah.
So,
Is that Old Trafford?
yes.
1.5
Robert
billion.
said Pep has spent
really?
1.5 billion.
Yeah, well.
And still hasn't won the Champions
And he
League.
hasn't won, and he didn't buy Messi. He was in the youth.
Yeah.
Listen, man, he took
is
over.
Is that in
I think so.
total?
He took over.
I thought it was just for
Listen,
Man
he
City.
took over Bayern Munich, who just won the Champions League with Jupp Heynckes. They'd won a treble, and he never got anywhere close to that. So you know what I mean? Like Rob was saying it, yeah.
I'd still take him.
Oh, listen, I would. I'm not saying he's a bad manager. I agree. He's not a bad. It's just that's.
I'll take him, Robbie.
Klopp has won one more recently than him, which pains me.
Klopp. I really admire Klopp, and I hated that.
When he went to Liverpool, I was devastated. Man.
We loved him before that, didn't we?
I loved him. It was so bad because I loved him at Dortmund. The second he signed for Liverpool, I was Devo, bro. I hated it.
Yeah. Nah, I think every United fan wanted him.
It's, it always paint. You think about it, man. It's like, couldn't Ferguson have just went on one more year?
Yeah.
Oh, well.
There's
What
one
do you
more.
do? All right, boys. Well, that was good. That was a great show. It was good to have Gio back, and good to have Johnny. Good to have Johnny back. He was AWOL last week, but Before we leave, if anyone in the chat wants to say anything, Ali has said goodbye, lads. He said, great show. Can't wait to see our new system. And yeah, it was good. Good show tonight, lads. Anything you want to put in?
It's going to be very interesting to see the new system. So I can't looking forward to that.
Just same. I just want to see if they actually appoint Rangnick before the Arsenal game.
Give him Old Trafford.
Yeah. Otherwise, we got another Michael Carrick showing, which he hasn't done bad. He hasn't done bad, but he's 40 years old. He
hasn't done anything yet. Like he's
exactly. Yeah. So, I think we just need to get that sorted, get a coach in, get things moving, and hopefully we got a few. Well, they're never easy games, but they're easier games coming up, and we just need to start racking some wins up, getting the confidence of the boys, and just start getting back to what United should be.
Yeah, I agree. So before we go, lads, I'll read out a few of the things. The big man has said, well done, see you Thursday. Robert said, well done. Jimmy has just come in, he said hello. Wayne has said, great show, lads. And so, me and Johnny, George will not be there this week. He'll be there next week on our normal podcast. I don't know if he'll be on the United show next week. We'll know. Jess has said, great show, boys. Goodbye. But Johnny, we'll see you Thursday night at HFD Studio.
Thank you. See you then.
All right. So see you later, guys.
Thanks for having me again, guys. I appreciate it.
See you, Gooey. Take care, bud.
Cheers.